TAQ Capital, technical analysis quickly.
This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Before taking any action based on the information provided on this channel, it is recommended that you seek the advice of a professional licensed financial advisor.
Let's do this.
We're going to start today on the 2-hour chart on Ethereum. And we had a pretty good run since my video yesterday. I said we'd probably be getting down here to right around 1520, which we did. We actually shot through it and hit 1512. So if you managed to get in at the 1520 mark, I mean, you're up right now, well, right now, 7.8%, but it looks like you would have been up 8.37%. So that's not a bad run, especially if you're doing 10x in futures. But the question we're always asking here is what next? So to answer that, let's jump around the charts here and see what we can figure out. We've been in this yellow wedge since August 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you know, we do the 1, 2, 3, 4 out thing. 1, 2, this was a miss. 3, and now we're working on our 4th. So where is 4 to complete, like to come up and hit this yellow line before we do our breakdown and out is the question. If you look at the Fibonacci retracement tool that we have over here, you can see that this is telling us on our first run from here to here, our retracement would fall somewhere in these 4 lines. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, and it wasn't. We actually went just past the 50% retracement line. So then we began our second run, which is what we're currently in. Even though this wasn't a hit and this was the hit, this constitutes that second run. And this top line here, the 1.618 Fibonacci, is telling us we're headed to about 1722. Now, it doesn't mean that that's exactly where we're going to hit. We could fall just short of it, but with the bullish sentiment in the market, especially with Ethereum here, that's highly unlikely we're going to fall short of anything. So if anything, I think we're going to shoot past it, maybe 1760, something like that. So the question becomes, well, is there a way to figure this out more accurately than somewhere up here? So we'll take a look at my grid chart. If you're new to the channel, don't freak out. All these lines that you're seeing, the solid lines, these are Fibonacci channels. And then there's Fibonacci circles or rings, depending on what you want to call them in here as well. So that's why I jump over here to see if this is telling us anything else. You know, if we take our target here around 1720, we can see we're currently in this pink wedge here, here, and this is where we've hit right now. So we want to know, are we going up, are we going down? Well, if we take this as our 4th point, well, then we're going down. And is that possible? Absolutely, especially with how far we are behind on the Kijun. Now, there's not a giant space between the Kijun and the Tenkin, but the Kijun is considerably back there. So as we're on the 3-hour now, our next candle hits at 11 a.m., which is in 21 minutes. And if it lays to the right and the Tenkin goes up further, or even lays to the right with it, that's a sign that we're going to be pulled down. But let's not start celebrating just yet. If you're planning on taking a short, I suppose it'd be celebrating. Because look at this massive space that was here last night. Green, red, and this is on the 5-hour. So this is an even more compelling chart than the 3-hour. And yet we couldn't even break down past the Tenkin. We didn't even make an attempt. Just after it was just kind of lingering here, it just took off and pulled both of these up. So this coin right now is very, very bullish. So it appears that the support from each wedge that we're breaking is more compelling to the price than the Ichimoku cloud. Now, it's tough betting against the Ichimoku cloud because 9 times out of 10 you're going to get burned. But it's shown us time in and time out that that's what's happening here. I mean, for another example, if we jump down to the 4-hour, I mean, this was up here. We had the 4-hour Kijun here, and because this space came over and then the Tenkin stood up, it called these candles down in. It came right through the Kijun here and then took off. So Now this space here between the Tenkan and the Kijin is smaller than it was back here. But again, this is the 4 hour. On the 5 hour, this space is, bigger than this one, it seems. I can measure them out exactly, but it's at least the same. And it's disrespected the Kijin here. I mean, it came down way back here, but even when it went up, these still remained the same. Because these remain the same, this should not have really taken off like that. So it's just a bullish sentiment in the market, and there's just no way around it. If we jump down to the 30-minute chart to see if we have anything telling us anything differently, I mean, you got the same situation here. I mean, we are way outside of the Bollinger Bands on a 30-minute chart. So these, when you blow outside like these, generally you're going to get sucked back in. I mean, back here, see that? Got sucked back in. This was just a little poke out. We even got sucked back in. This was a big run out. We got pulled back in. This is a big run out, but now we're still running out. So again, it's very bullish right now. It's even pulling the Tenkan and the Kijin up a little bit. Now that doesn't mean that it's not going to be followed by a bunch of down candles, of course. But as of right now, everyone's still hyped about this, a candle that took off at like 9 o'clock or something. So people are still jumping in. People haven't started taking their profits yet. Not really. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm going to jump down to the 2 hour to show you some wedges that I drew here. The red one here that you see going up like that, and then down here like this. This one, we created a symmetrical wedge. So as we came off of, well, at one point the pink was back here. Now I've got it touching here because we're now high enough to have a second point over here. So I guess ignore that. But we came crashing down into it. That was a 1. And then we went up to a 2 here, down here, up here, retraced, and then boom, shot out. Because these symmetrical wedges can either break up or down. You don't really know. And I would have called down based on everything I was seeing. Like I showed you on the 5 hour and the Kijin and everything. But based on the sentiment in the market, and at least in this coin, if nothing else, this is just bullish, and it took off up. It just took a minute to take a breather here as it coiled, and then boom, fired out like a rocket. So we can delete the red wedge now. That's out. That's completed. The white wedge was another one we had. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then break up and out. And this was that 15-12 mark where I was suggesting you get in, and that just took off like a rocket. So now let's zoom out and see what these other wedges are. Okay, the green wedge that you see running straight down here and straight down here, this one started back at the peak of the June 18th run. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've just completed it now, breakout. So now we're going to be drawing a new wedge, which is the blue one that you see running just down by the green. And we don't know where that's going to begin. So what's the difference between the blue and the green? Well, if we zoom in, you can see on the green, it's first hit, second hit, and third hit is supposed to be, nope, there's the third hit right there. Then we came down, did the fourth hit down here, and then shot out and did breakout up here. So the difference between that and the blue is the blue has to pull off enough to have this be the first hit, but miss this one. So the question then, that helps us answer, is this it? And no, it's not. So I'm going to make this blue line a solid line really quickly so that we can see everywhere it's touching. So if we take this down and we put it into the green, and then we lower this down into the red, and go to where it's just barely touching. Let's take some finesse here because it matters. It cannot touch the red. So let's get it just above the red. So worst case scenario, as in the lowest price possible, is going to be right there, because if we zoom in now, we can see that we hit the green, miss the red. So then over here, can we hit the 1720 mark still? Yes, we can come up here and clip that right there. I mean, we can still do it a couple candles out. So by September 2nd at 8 p.m., we'll be able to hit it and then turn around and come crashing down. So then we would drag our pink line up here, something like that, and this would become our hit down here, and we'd have our 1, 2, 3, whoops, sorry, no, that's not 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, down and out. However, we always want to look at the alternative. If we pull it off the top one and use this as our first hit, and we drag this down to where it is now, could we be completed here? Well, the only way to answer that is you leave this end where it is, and then you come up here and play with this end to see if you drag the blue line out, will this hit that green? So let's zoom in. And you don't want to get into trying to move it around because you can pivot it anywhere and it'll affect the other end. So you just double click on this and you hit extend left, and then you hit OK, and you miss it. So right there, theoretically, we could actually be done. This could be our first hit, and it isn't that one. Now this is less rare. Well, sorry, not less rare. This is more rare than keeping this one as your first hit. But it does happen, and you just got to be mindful of that. So, looking at the Ichimoku cloud, it looks like we should be going down for sure. But it did last night, and we didn't. Looking at the Bollinger Band, it looks like we should be going down for sure. But we've blown out of it quite a few times on the different time frames, and we've not come down to the full retracement. So now it's just, at this point, it's kind of like betting. And, when they say the trend is your friend, I mean, I know we're currently in a downtrend, absolutely, without question. But in that downtrend, we are currently in a bullish run, and that is absolutely no question. So based on the last few days, if I had to pick, I would say that this is not the top and that we're going up to here. I still stand behind the 1720 because the Fibonacci retracement tool is saying it. So we did our retracement coming up to the 1720. So that's 1 for 1720. The wedge is saying it because this is less likely for sure. So I give the wedge, even though they are malleable, I give the wedge the 1720, though only just. If we look at the Ichimoku cloud on the 4 hour, I would say it's more likely than not that we would be coming down, but they are both standing up right now, and I wouldn't really know that answer until noon, which is hour and 7 minutes out. Looking for Fibonacci lines, I mean, we're up here for our next major resistance because this blue line here is the one I just made solid, and that's the one we're moving back and forth for the wedge. So more signs point to 1720 than not. So let's go see what Bitcoin's doing, seeing if Bitcoin's going to shoot us in the foot. All right, well, Bitcoin's got a lot going on here. So right now you can see we're right at the corner of a Fibonacci channel line and a Fibonacci circle line. So that's not looking good for Bitcoin, just right there, because that right now, that's acting as double resistance. What that means is we're probably going to be looking at a major slowdown here, at least on Bitcoin, which could spill over into a slowdown on other coins, just waiting to see what the hell Bitcoin is doing. It doesn't always work like that, the wait and see part, but if Bitcoin gets rejected here and goes down, that's going to affect other coins. Fibonacci retracement tool here is telling us 21,191, and I have is going to about 21.2. I think we're going to overshoot it because this is the next fib line. So if we break this double resistance and then we come up and break, oh sorry, that's the top of the channel. We'll be meeting this resistance at some point. So right in between this sweet spot is probably going to be somewhere we're looking at. So if we drag this out, and we could actually come up here with our, 1, 2, is that 3? I'm going to have to zoom in closer there, and then we'll hit our 4 before we come down and break out. But this here, 1 versus 2, could be a big deal, and I'll explain why. Well, firstly, I zoomed way in, you do have the first hit, and then the second one, not this middle one, is our third hit. So it's not a big deal in the sense that is a clear miss there when you zoom in. And I say could be a big deal is because you can't be hitting both of these, which would mean that we would have to tank down here and hit that line to have a clear third hit. So you'd be talking about 1, 2, 3 before we go up. And I mean, it looks like that's not necessary because this again in the middle here was not a hit. So we're fine. But you can see here, even right now on the 5-hour chart, we are starting to go red. It could just be for a couple minutes here. I don't know, but I'm just saying we're starting to go red. So this is indicating a pullback. If you look at the Ichimoku cloud, you've got the Kijin over the Tenkin, and there's a solid. I mean, we've come down and we've hit the Kijin here, we've hit the Kijin here, we've hit the Kijin here. You can also see that we've lost against this fib line here. We lost against the fib line. Well, we're in the process of losing here, but it was excellent support there. So this fib line has played a role. So it's certainly possible that we could be looking at, more downside. Again, sentiment in the market right now is bullish. So let's see what else we can find here on the lower time frames. 4-hour, 3-hour, 2-hour. 2-hour looks like there could be a little pullback. I mean, you've got the Kijin lagging behind, but the 2-hour just isn't as compelling as until you get up into like the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud in the 4-hour and higher time frames. On the 2-hour, we're looking at current rejection. Oh, it's 11 o'clock, so we should have the 3-hour just starting a new candle. And yet we're green right now, so we'll see. I mean, we're either going to use this as support and take off, or we're going to get rejected here, come down, reset, try to break through again, possibly get rejected, try to break through again, possibly get rejected, try to break through again, and then go up. It'll be something to that effect is my guess. I mean, this is the 7-hour. The Ichimoku cloud is pretty compelling here. Yes, the Kijin is over the Tenkin, but these are like right by each other. And you can see that the Tenkin can just poke right through here and be above the Kijin. And then this can be off to the races along with the Kijin. So there's a good chance that, we're bullish here as well. So overall, I say Bitcoin is cautiously bullish. And it's all going to come down to what's going on with this fib circle and this fib line here. But even if there is a pullback, I think we're still going up to the 21.2 area, possibly slightly higher to the Fibonacci line that's just above it right here. And then we'll turn around and come down. So, I mean, you're good for, a run of almost 4%, possibly 4%, maybe 4.3 by the time you hit the green line. And then it's going to be buckle up because it's going to be a crash. And I think this is maybe step 1 of 2 or step 1 of 3 that's going to take us to the bottom of the market. I mean, maybe there won't be a lot of steps. Maybe it's just step 1 of 1. And this is where we're going to go hit that 8 to 10K range. All right, I'm going to finish up here on Ethereum because it did turn 11 and I was talking about the 3 o'clock. Right now we have a candle forming outside of the Bollinger Band. Those don't usually survive. We did not have that happen over here from what we can tell, at least just looking in history. So this is further evidence that we're headed back down to the Kijin. Kijin is approximately at 1563. And if we did come down to the Kijin, we would still be able to maintain the shape of the wedge. So we would have 1, 2, 3, and then we're working on it. So we'd come swoop back down here, miss, and go back up, get our 4, come down, and break out. So I'm cautiously bearish on Ethereum versus cautiously bullish on Bitcoin. And if the Bitcoin bulls win, the Ethereum bulls might also win. So that's just something to keep in mind. But that's it for me today, guys, on Ethereum and Bitcoin. Like I said, I have a wonderful Labor Day weekend out there to all of my American people. And to the rest of you, thank you also for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to everybody if you found this useful. I appreciate you all, and check out my other socials in the description because as things unfold today, I'll be posting on Instagram like I normally do, and Telegram I focus on slightly less because right now there's just not a lot of people that are being that interactive on Telegram. So I'll focus on Instagram the most. I may share my links to the Instagram posts on Telegram, but that's how I give you my quick updates as they unfold, because YouTube videos just take a lot more effort versus I can just bang out the other ones from my phone, and the 1-to-1 ratio, because I've got the Z Fold 4, works really nicely just to be able to make a quick video. Anyway, like I said, that's it for me. Have a great weekend. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Have a great everything. I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll see you in the next video.